The following is a presentation of the Matt Talk Podcast Network.
The mind of Pat Popolizio is a wondrous thing. And for you Pack wrestling fans, you'll get to go inside the mind of the Skip each and every episode here on the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Now, here's your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Brian Reinhardt.
Welcome to a brand new episode of the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. I'm your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Brian Reinhardt, and helping me co-pilot this adventure is the head coach of the NC State wrestling team, Pat Popolizio.
Good afternoon, Brian.
Pat, it's great to be back in your office, but it's awfully hard to come up with a new intro every time out here. This is starting to turn into a weekly podcast now just because there's so many good duels at this time of the year that we really want to break down and give a recap of all the action that NC State's been going through.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking maybe we should have you start singing the NC State theme song for the school. I think that would get things firing off in the right direction for this podcast next week.
I have just found my radio voice. I'm not sure I have a singing voice yet.
I don't know about that.
Actually, in this episode, we're going to revisit the start of the ACC season with that win at Duke. We're going to look ahead to the next ACC duel as the Wolfpack returns to Reynolds Coliseum to face Virginia this Friday night, January 26th. And in our interview segment, we have our first alum that's going to come back to share some stories about his time with the Pack. So, Pat, another great episode right here.
Yeah, exciting time to have everybody come back this weekend and, more importantly, be home in Reynolds, a beautiful venue with some great individual matches. And then obviously being an ACC duel should be a really good atmosphere.
Now, this would not be a Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast if I didn't get my plugs in. So once again, we want to thank all of our fans who have taken the time to subscribe to our channel on such platforms as iTunes, Google Music Play, and Stitcher, just to name a few. If you have not subscribed yet, if you're still listening off of those links off gopack.com, and I know people are because I see you, please take the time to subscribe wherever you get all of your favorite podcasts. It helps us out whenever the administrators up here at Weisiger Brown ask us, what are we doing in Pat's office when we close that door? They love to see our numbers. They love to know that people are enjoying this podcast. And we started giving away some NC State wrestling gear last week. All you have to do to enter to win some NC State team wrestling gear is leave us a rating and review on iTunes. Just search Pack Mentality, all one word. You have to listen to win, and if we mention your review during the podcast, just DM us on Twitter to claim your prize. Pat, we tried to give away 2 t-shirts last week. Only one claimed the prize. So we got a little extra gear. It might be in my book bag right now, so it might be mine, actually.
Well, I think you've earned it, so definitely will look good in that nice t-shirt with NC State Wrestling on there. Good branding. I think we got to add the podcast to the t-shirt.
I was going to say, we're going to get a podcast t-shirt.
Definitely. It's got to be a picture of you, though.
Well, I got a 4XL in my bag right now, so that might be more marked for Gwiz, but we'll see. We're actually going to switch it up this week. I dove into my contact list on my phone to secure a special guest, and this episode's guest is not only going to talk about his time as a member of the Wolfpack, but he's bringing some gear himself to give away. Pat, pretty big time get for the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast.
Definitely. I just hope it's a sweatshirt he went with and not a t-shirt. We're going to see what level of commitment he has, and we've been networking for him a little bit. His business is starting to take off here early. So if he's on board with us, we'll be on board with him.
We have pubbed up that business quite a bit, and we will later in this episode. But in some recent news, NC State had 10 wrestlers ranked in the first NCAA coaches panel rankings, which ranks the top 33 wrestlers at each weight class and is part of the formula to determine the NCAA brackets. NC State was the only team in the NCAA with 10 ranked among the top 30, and 5 of your wrestlers were ranked in the top 3 in their respective weight classes. Now, I know you're working to be ready for March, but these first set of rankings with 10 guys from NC State has to be a positive start.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those where you get to see where other people think you're at. And this year we're doing our part to make sure we don't get caught up in any of the rankings because they really don't mean anything. And we keep talking about it. The final rankings will come out middle of March. That's Saturday night, and that's what we're gearing towards. and put us wherever we need to be put at as long as we get to that tournament, going in there with the confidence that we need and wrestling our style. So, yeah, it's great for the guys to be recognized for their hard work, but at the end of the day, they really don't mean anything other than getting a spot for your conference tournament at this point.
And in some international news, former Wolfpack national champion Nick Gwizdowski is currently over in Russia as he will wrestle for the U.S. in a tournament on Saturday, January 27th. And Pat, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this name of the tournament in Russia, but I'm hoping you can tell our listeners a little bit about it and just how important it is for Nick's career going forward here.
Urigan. So Nick's over there, traveled probably 25 hours to get there. I think he's probably in the negative temperatures for Nick, which is good. He needs that. Just
like upstate New York.
Definitely. So he's used to that. This is great. This is one of the toughest tournaments in the world for senior men. I know some of the top U.S. guys at every weight are there. More importantly, all the international guys, Russia's got their top guys there. Sounds like one of them at Nick's weight might have been injured last minute, but either way, there's going to be some very tough competition for Nick. And I think more importantly, it helps with getting points for him, getting seeded moving forward at the World Championships next year. So this is a tournament. I know his training, watching him here in Raleigh, has been first class. Obi's got him ready to roll. He's looking good. But yeah, this is big for Nick. It's big. Obviously, people want to tune in and watch him. We'll have the information on our. Hopefully, it'll be on our GoPack website. Brian, you can take care of that. I'll get you the info that we can get it out there. But you'll be able to watch the matches. It just might be at 4 a.m.
It's going to be an early start, and Gwiz already put it out there this week. Unfortunately, he's going to miss Alumni Weekend. But I think mainly for him, he's a little sad he's going to miss Casino Night.
He's not going. Well, we won't be missing much from him watching his poker skill, so it's probably a good thing.
So now back to action stateside. You guys return to the state of North Carolina to compete in a duel for the first time since early December. NC State opened the ACC portion of the schedule with a 32-6 win at Duke. Pat, before we talk about some of the matches, it was a great turnout by many NC State fans at Duke, as I would venture a bet that there was more red inside Cameron Indoor Stadium than blue that night.
That was probably the most impressive part of what I definitely caught that with a lot of fans representing NC State. It was loud in there, a lot of people cheering for us, so that was exciting to see and continue to build off that momentum now that we're at home. Hopefully we can get a arena filled of NC State fans.
And fans, we're going to touch on it a little bit later, but plenty of choices to see NC State inside Reynolds. 4 of the final 5 duels of the season will be in Reynolds starting this Friday night against UVA. And a lot of great teams coming in, aside from NC State, who's a top 10 team, so we encourage you to come out. But going back to that Duke win, it was the 23rd straight win for NC State in Durham in the series overall. NC State won 8 of the 10 matches, including the first 6. NC State also had 4 bonus point wins, so a good start to the ACC portion for the Wolfpack.
No doubt. I think Tommy Cox got us rolling in the right direction. What I liked best about that match was he had, I think a year ago, lost to that same kid, and it just shows the improvement that he's been making and reassures a lot that we're on track, continuing doing the right things as far as a program. So I like seeing that. That was a big way to get the dual meet and get momentum going.
And you mentioned Tommy started the night with a 6-3 win at 125, but somebody I wanted you to talk about who might be a little under the radar right now. At 133, redshirt freshman Tariq Wilson, he's number 26 in the NCAA coaches panel rankings, has a couple of wins over NCAA qualifiers, and started his ACC career with a pin at Duke. What does Tariq have to do to continue to stay in these rankings and earn the ACC and allocation at 133?
Just got to continue to grow and work on the little technical things that we've been focusing in on. He's got a lot of ability. He's, technique-wise and skill, he's up there with the best of them. And it's just one of those where, you got a freshman in the lineup and there's going to be some highs and lows. I mean, that's just the reality where we're at in the sport. And, he's continuing to make progress. We expect big things out of him. He's got nowhere to go but up. His ACC challenges that come up in front of him are going to be, I think he sees a lot of really good guys moving forward. I don't think there's anybody that, that he's going to wrestle from now until ACCs that as far as ranking goes, they're probably in a better spot than he is. So he's got to take advantage of this situation, and he's got to go out and let things fly and be confident and relaxed. And I'm excited to see the challenge and how he responds. And it starts, obviously, Friday night with a big challenge for him coming against the returning All-American.
So Wilson got that pin at 133. Then you had two veterans come out, get two more bonus point wins at 141 and 149. Kevin Jack got a tech fall. Bo Donahue a major. Later at 184, Pete Renda added a second tech fall. And we've talked about bonus point wins before, but now as we're this late in the season, how important are bonus points in duels and for scoring team points at both the ACC and NCAA championships?
It's a big part of success, and that's something we've been working on. And I think you get that with guys that have been in the game before and know what it's about. And we need that, and it helps. Hayden's doing the same thing, doing his part as well. So we got guys now. Depending on the dual meets and where we match up, that's the place where we can take advantage of maybe having a guy that's a little more experienced. And our guys are doing that now, and they know, instead of hanging on, winning 5-2, that they got to go out there and get that major decision. And if they're winning by 10, it's time to go out and try to get that tech fall. Because ultimately, when we get to the national tournament, those points are going to add up pretty quick, depending on where you're at as far as team goes. So more, and also it gives our guys a chance to continue to improve and work on some things and not just be content where they're at in a match. You want that constant wrestling and being aggressive, and that's what we preach as coaches here, and it's starting to pay off, and we're seeing it more and more out of our guys.
I would say the marquee match of the night over at Duke was number 3, Hayden Hidley, against number 11, Mitch Finesilver at 157. Hidley did not disappoint that pro NC State crowd. 24 seconds in, he used a headlock and took down Finesilver and got a 4-point near fall. But you have to give Finesilver some credit. He was in the headlock for over a minute and didn't get pinned. But the 6-0 lead for Hidley was too much, and the redshirt freshman improved to 15-0 after his first ACC duel. And Pat, I just broke the news to you. It's breaking news. It's not even on the website yet. Hayden was named the ACC Wrestler of the Week for a league best third time this week.
Yeah, that's great. That's good for the Mud Dog. Like you said, what's that, third time this year that he got it?
Third time, and he also pumped out the Mug Dog, and it was on the news the other day.
Yeah, well, he's branding himself here in Raleigh, and he should. He's doing everything right in his part. That match, that was, I think, one of those, it's not your typical match where you go out and you hit a headlock like that, and you get a guy on his back, and you're using a lot of energy to try to pin the guy. So, and you're right, Finesilver fought that off pretty hard, and I think both guys obviously used a lot of energy in that, and it changed the match a little bit. I don't think, you don't train for that to be in a situation for that. So it was kind of good to see how he responded. He had a big lead and continued to attack, and it was, it's one of those where you can't really prepare for a match like that, and that's why obviously experience matters when you're at this level. And he's probably had that happen before somewhere in his career, but he responded well, kept his composure, and stayed in there, and obviously was chasing after, like we've been saying, we've been trying to preach bonus points, and was probably put himself a little bit out of position towards the end of the match, chasing that major, and got caught off guard a little bit. But I'd rather see that, on my end, and as a staff, we'd rather see that happen than being content sitting on your heels just trying to defend things off. So it made him better, and it was definitely, it's probably not a match. It's a match you're probably going to see here again, either ACCs or NCAA somewhere during the tournament.
And the pack also got decisions at 165 and 197, and the duel was well in hand going into that final bout at heavyweight. You made the choice to start Malik McDonald this go-around. He got up 6-1 on number 5, Jacob Casper, in the first with a pair of takedowns and a 2-point near fall. But Casper used a late takedown and a ride out for the eventual 8-6 win. McDonald and senior Michael Boykin are not making it easy for you with their recent strong showings to determine a starter even this late in the year.
No, definitely making that challenging, which is a good problem to have with the program where we're at. We got depth, so it's nice to have both guys there and both guys doing things right to be able to compete in this position. They both got a chance to wrestle Casper, who's obviously one of the best heavyweights in the country. He showed it with his composure to come back and get that win, because I feel like a lot of guys in a position like that, would have probably let that match slip away, but it just shows the level he's at, and hats off to him for doing that. And I think we got to be a little more confident in a situation like that. Know that if we're up by that, we're going to continue to attack and put those points on the board and win that match. And that's what we're looking for out of heavyweight right now. Who is going to step up? Who is going to do that against somebody that are not supposed to do that against? And the good news is we got a couple weights coming in the ACC that we need to win at heavyweight. And if someone steps up and gets that done, it's going to make it hard not to wrestle them in the conference tournament. I think these guys try to leave it in their hands to decide who that is, and we'll play it out. We got a lot of wrestling left to do. And I like definitely the options we have. It's just who's going to be the better fit for our program right now, and we'll figure that out as time goes on.
Now, looking ahead to this week's action, NC State will host 4 of the final 5 duels of the season in Reynolds Coliseum starting this Friday, January 26th, with Virginia at 7:30. And Pat, we're about to make some podcast history for ourselves here as we have our first PA read. We've had a lot of bills piling up since we started this podcast in October. But this is a very important ad, as we hope if you're in Raleigh, you come out and support the NC State wrestling team by attending an upcoming duel.
So from what I'm hearing, you're saying we need to get a sponsor for this podcast.
We are looking for sponsorship ads. We're willing to read any ad. We will have the Skip read the ad.
You got it. I'm ready. It's important. These events directly impact our program, our regional training center, and it all meshes together. At the end of the day, it's all under the umbrella of NC State wrestling, and we need to continue to grow it. The resources need to grow to be one of the best teams in the country, to win a national title. We need all our guys that graduate here at NC State are national champs, All-Americans, sticking around and helping to grow this program, which they are. The recent grads are all still around town and are caring and willing to do whatever it takes to put us in a better position. And we, obviously the guys that want to continue their wrestling career need to stay here and not leave, and not allow other programs to come here and steal our guys. And that's what we have been able to do. We've had certain individuals help financially keep them here, and we're going to put up the fence and not allow that to happen. And that's what's going to really help us compete to win that national title down the road.
The NC State wrestling team is back in home action at Reynolds Coliseum this Friday, January 26th at 7:30, when the Wolfpack hosts Virginia in a pivotal ACC duel. We'll also be celebrating Alumni Night, so join us as we honor our Wolfpack wrestling alums and the contributions that they've made to NC State wrestling. Fans can also participate in the Harris Teeter Million Meals Challenge by bringing 3 or more non-perishable items to receive a $3 admission. Post-match, we're going to have the guys sign some autographs, so be sure to stick around for that. So to purchase tickets, visit gopack.com/buy tickets. And you can also purchase a ticket at the door for any of our duels. So, Pat, some really good pricing options that we have for these duels.
Yeah, and I think the bigger question, Brian, is are you going to be there signing autographs too now?
The SID is behind the scenes. Usually, we don't get that kind of, but with this podcast now.
Podcast people are going to be asking for it.
That's true. I had 2 people come up to me at the last duel, so that was kind of cool.
Well, I think it's time. Get that pen in your hand.
The Virginia duel will also serve as our annual alumni night. Many former Wolfpack wrestlers will be coming back into town to check out this year's team. Now, you have only been head coach here for about 6 seasons, but you've gotten to meet so many former Wolfpack wrestlers from various decades. What does it mean to you to have their support?
That's what builds a program. Coach Guzzo did a great job building history here. Those guys, that are in Raleigh come around and are supporting us in every event that we do. And it's a core group of guys that, anytime we do something, that are here backing it. But we got to branch this out. We need everybody's support that has been a part of this program, whether they're financially invested or just coming to matches or just coming giving their stories, whatever it is, there needs to be some level of commitment on anybody's part that ever wrestled here at NC State. Because when you look across the country to programs that are producing at the highest level, they have that backing. I will say this year more than ever, I think we sold the most NCAA tickets. So that's a sign that people are coming around little by little. And we're making,
Not to interrupt, but despite being in sunny Cleveland.
Yeah, that's where we go wrestling in nice and cold areas. But
I've been pushing for some of the South venues here.
Yeah, Raleigh would be good. But yeah, that growth is important, and we're making big strides on that. And the recent guys are all here, and we just need some of those guys that have been here back in the day under Guzzo, and just keep everybody committed and connected to being here.
Now moving on to Virginia, UVA comes to Reynolds with a 3-6 record on the season, and they start ACC action with a 24-15 home loss to North Carolina last weekend. I think the Cavs' record's a little deceiving. They have 6 starters ranked in the first NCAA coaches panel rankings, and 4 of their 6 losses are to teams currently in the top 25. So NC State's won 3 in a row in the series, but Virginia is always a tough out, and they just grind out some low-scoring individual wins that keep their duels close. No
question. I mean, this is a dual meet. We got to be ready to roll. Duels are tricky because one upset can really change the outcome of a dual meet. So we definitely have some key matchups across the board that are going to be very interesting matches. So individually, we got to be ready to wrestle. And, as far as the team goes, our guys all come together and keep competing at the level we're at. It should be a great duel. And like you said, a lot of good individual matches and definitely some ranked guys going head-to-head with each other. So you'll see some fireworks Friday night.
Virginia is led by their 2 lower weights. Redshirt freshman Louis Hayes is ranked 11th at 125, and sophomore Jack Mueller is up a weight class from last year after he earned All-American honors as a true freshman and is currently ranked number 5 at 133. In that loss to the Tar Heels, UVA started out with duels by both of those to go up to 12-0. So no matter who goes at 125 for NC State, these are 2 tough matches that might start off the duel.
Yeah, you're going to see those 2 guys. I think, both of them are some of the better guys in the country right now. So it's a good test regardless of who we wrestle at those weights. Better be ready to wrestle and know that it's going to be a tough match. And it's also one of those where you're only going to grow when you're wrestling guys at that level. They're going to make you better. And you got to learn and continue to do what we do best, and I'm excited to see our guys step up for those challenges at those weights where they got some high ranked guys. So looking forward to those matchups.
The Cavs also feature wrestlers ranked in the NCAA coaches panel rankings at 149, 165, 174, and 197. So again, Wolfpack fans, we would love to have your support in Reynolds Coliseum this Friday night. Wolfpack duels are action-packed and fun for the whole family, and Reynolds is just so beautiful to check out for any Wolfpack fan of any sport. And Pat, something I'm going to transition to, in conjunction with Alumni Night on Friday, the Wolfpack Wrestling Club is hosting its biggest fundraiser of the year the very next night at the Tally Student Union Ballroom. On Saturday, January 27th from 7:30 to 10:30, the Wolfpack Wrestling Club will host its annual casino night. So, Pat, can you talk about the purpose of this fundraiser and how much fun this evening always turns out to be?
Yeah, there's 2 objectives to this event. Obviously, we want to continue to grow our resources, so this is a great way to do it. Some of our alumni have worked extremely hard to put this together and get everybody coming back for it. And then, more importantly, we want to get everybody together and have a good time. And there's no better way to do this than playing some fake gambling games. It's actually real games, but at the end of the day, you're buying in to win some really good prizes, and some of them are actually some great prizes that you can get right here. That'll from hockey tickets. I know I'm putting in my basketball tickets because I think we're on the road for one of them. Whoever we have coming up,
and your basketball tickets are always in the best.
They're the best seats. So. Anybody in the local community, don't need to be a wrestling fan, but if you want to support wrestling, you can come on by. It's open to everyone as long as they're of age, and should be a great time.
I was going to say, the event is open to all NC State wrestling fans. Please register ahead of time. Visit wolfpackrtc.com/events. Again, if you would like to join the NC State coaching staff and some former wrestlers at their annual Casino Night fundraiser, please register at wolfpackrtc.com/events. And Pat, there's a lot of good prizes being given out. This is fun every year. I've been able to make it many times, and it's just a good evening of, you don't even have to gamble and play games. You can just come and hang out and just talk and meet the staff.
Definitely. And that's the best part about it, because all our guys that graduated will be there. I know Nick Gwizdowski came up with a good prize that he's going to donate. We'll let people figure that out when they're there. So that'll be a good one. And maybe, Brian, maybe we'll put a prize up for something to do with the podcast.
We might have to do podcast guest host.
Yeah,
maybe guest.
Yeah, maybe that could be a good prize for you.
Free
to do.
Sponsorship. Yeah, there's just a lot of options now.
Yep.
But I know one local supporter of the program who just happens to be an alum who also was the special guest this week. Former NC State wrestler Sam Speno decided to stay in the Raleigh area after his graduation this past spring and is currently making a name for himself, starting his own business. Pat, as a coach, how much do you enjoy having your own alums around that you coach still in the area that come around the program, and fans, they're just fans of the progress that this team continues to make?
Yeah, they, guys that have come through and left their mark with our program, I think take a lot of pride in where we're at now. Sam being one of those guys, core guys that came here. I want to say year one, we came down together that April or May, took this job and convinced him to come down from New York. And it's been a great relationship there. I'm happy and excited. He graduated, got through school, and then decided to stay here, start up his own business. And as he uses the term, he's crushing it right now here in Raleigh. But that goes back to his work ethic and, willing to out hustle people. And that's what he's doing. And little by little, he's making a name for himself in Raleigh. And it won't be long before we're hitting him up for a big donation for our RTC. But he's starting small with the sweatshirt, I think.
I should mention he was a match sponsor in the Wolfpack Open.
Yes. No, Sam's very generous of what he's doing with his time and obviously giving back to us. So we appreciate everything he's been able to do.
And Pat, I can tell you're excited to get back to action in Reynolds this weekend with another tough ACC matchup, this time as the Wolfpack host the Virginia Cavaliers. So don't forget to get your tickets, Wolfpack fans. Let's pack it red. Buy those tickets online. Buy those tickets at the door. Let's fill Reynolds Coliseum. Pat, thanks for taking some time and talking some ACC action, and good luck this weekend.
Appreciate it. Looking forward to everybody coming by and being a part of either a casino night or coming by the Duel Friday night and catching Wolfpack in action.
We're now joined by former Wolfpack wrestler and current local business owner, Sam Speno. Sam, welcome to the podcast. You're our first alum to be one of the guests here. So you're setting the bar kind of high for all the other former wrestlers that want to be on this podcast with the interview today.
Yeah, I guess you could say send it high, but I'm sure they're all used to that, send the bar high.
We'll see. You got some big expectations here as the first alum. We've gotten many who want to be on. But first, a little introduction about yourself. Native of Mount Kisco, New York. Sam was a 3-time NCAA qualifier during his Wolfpack career, qualifying at 3 different weights. Sam finished with 76 career wins, 39 wins in duels, and 16 wins against ranked foes during the Wolfpack career from 2013 to last season. Sam, you've had a very productive career in the red and white singlet.
Yes, I'd say so. I didn't come out on accomplishing all my goals, but it was a good time. Definitely enjoyed it, and yeah.
So going back in the time machine a little bit, what led you to NC State from New York during the recruiting process?
So originally I was going to Binghamton with Pat and Frank, but obviously he's down here now and Frank was here. But so once I got the news that they were coming down here to NC State, I was kind of confused. I didn't really know what I was doing or what I was supposed to do. Then I finally got in touch with them, and they sent me on a trip down here. And originally, I never really wanted to go that far from home, but I took the visit here, and I liked it a lot. Everything about it was perfect, and now I'm living here, so obviously I like it a lot.
I was going to say, we'll touch on, you're still in the area and all that, and it's just kind of unique. You said you didn't expect to be down here, but as I mentioned earlier, you were a 3-time NCAA qualifier. As a freshman in 2013, you went to the NCAAs at 133. Then at 141 the next season, you finished your career last year as a redshirt senior at 149 at the NCAAs. Mm-hmm. Kind of unique, but do you think your route of going in 3 different weight classes is harder than staying at the same weight your whole career?
It definitely depends on if you're growing or not. For me, I think it was a better move for me. I was growing, I was getting bigger. 33 was a little tough, and then 41, I was there for 2 years, but eventually it was getting a little hard to make. And then Kevin Jack came in, and then I went up to 49, which was, I think, perfect. I wasn't cutting too much weight. I felt strong, got a lot bigger.
And it kind of leads me to my next point, a little bit of history. During that 2015 season, you were well on your way to an NCAA bid at 141, but in February, you came down with mono, missed a good amount of the season. It just so happened that a true freshman was pulled out a red shirt and finished the season at 141, and that was, as you said, Kevin Jack, who took fifth that year. I know that was a tough situation back then, but looking back now, did you see Kevin having the type of career he's having, and just what a unique start to his career and that year tied to it?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely surprised a lot of people with that fifth place finish that year, especially coming out of redshirt just like that. But I mean, I've known Kevin for a while. We were from the same club back at home, Iowa Style Wrestling. But I knew he was always good. He was always tough. I wrestled with him all the time back then, and I mean, look at him now. I mean, he's doing great, doing big things. So.
And I know you took a red shirt in 2016 to work up to 149. Over the last few seasons, NC State's had a lot of success in guys redshirting after they've been on campus for a couple seasons. Pete Renda is a prime example this year as he redshirted last season. How did a redshirt season help you later in your career?
Yeah, so I mean, you get that whole extra season of experience, the whole year. If you're there, we're there for the summers working out, and especially me, I was really focusing on lifting. I mean, Craven, he's a great strength coach. I was with him all the time, getting bigger, and I think that helped a lot. And then just that, like I said, the whole year, I mean, that's a long time to pick up new skills, and that's what I did, and it helps a lot.
And I know you still have a very keen interest on this year's squad. How much pride do you take as you were one of the main contributors over the recent years that started the trend of NC State being ranked in the top 10 in each of the last 36 national rankings?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome, especially coming here. My freshman year, I think we finished 64th in the country, and now they're ranked top third, which is, I mean, it's crazy what the coaches have done in, I mean, 5 years, 6 years. That's awesome.
How do you feel being you were a part of that history to get us to this level?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, I like it. I mean, it's awesome. It's a great feeling just knowing that I was a part of it and got to witness it, be part of the team for this journey.
And this Friday night, the Wolfpack will host Virginia in Reynolds Coliseum at 7:30. Buy your tickets now, Wolfpack fans. We will also be celebrating Alumni Night and recognizing many former Wolfpack wrestlers. Sam, as a recent alum, can you speak to the brotherhood that you guys have as former NC State wrestlers?
Yeah, I mean, you come in there, you don't know anybody, and make friends real quick. I mean, especially, I remember moving down here. I lived with Nick Wisdowski and Billy Cook. They were probably the two fastest friends I ever made in my life. And I mean, just through that, meeting everybody throughout the lineup, throughout the years, all my teammates, and now, I mean, basically brothers.
That upstate New York connection, it's pretty thick with the Wolfpack squad through the years.
Definitely.
So as we come full circle, you earned your NC State degree in sport management this past spring. What made you decide you wanted to stay down in Raleigh?
Well, yeah, like you said, I got my sport management degree, and so I was kind of in my senior year classes. We had those classes where I started looking for jobs and all this stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, senior year, I should kind of know what I want to do, which I really didn't. I knew I didn't want to work inside. I love being outside, and obviously the lawn care. So then I was talking to my old teammate Tyler Johnson about it, and he was like, just do it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I started my own lawn care company down here, and I love the weather. I love the people here, right here next to NC State. So it worked out perfect.
I was going to say, that's what all of our listeners want us to get to. Speno's Lawn Care. First, I have to ask, how did you come up with the unique name?
Yeah, just Speno's Lawn Care. That's the last name, so worked out.
I'm glad it wasn't taken. Glad you didn't have to dive down to option number 2. But hopefully all of our listeners are aware of the business. It's gotten multiple shout-outs on this podcast from Pat, and you even sponsored a mat at the Wolfpack Open this year. Mm-hmm. So how is the business going? Was it difficult to start a new business right out of college?
I mean, at first, I would admit I probably jumped into it probably quicker than I should have, and I didn't have any of the resources that I really needed. I mean, I had a $20 lawnmower I bought off of OfferUp, and I didn't even have a truck. I used to use Gwizz's and Tommy Cox's SUV to put in the back and go from house to house. But
Tommy Cox, another New York connection.
Yes, another New Yorker, Long Island. But yeah, I mean, it was hard. There's a lot of competition, especially in the area for lawn care. But once I started getting my reputation up, and I try to be very friendly to the customers and create more than just a lawn care guy relationship. I try to create just a good relationship with my customers. And then once you get your reviews, and once I got on Yelp, that's when everybody started finding me. So now it's going really well.
I was going to say, tell our listeners what kind of services Speno's Lawn Care can provide if they're looking in the area.
Yeah, so I mean, we do basic mowing, we do mulch, pine straw, we do gutters. We actually just had a big snowstorm we were shoveling. If you needed that, we can do that. And installing walkways, we do that. We actually just put up a picture, one of our first ones, so take a look at that. And planting, bushes, plants, hedges, all that stuff.
Now, you are very active on Twitter and Instagram with the company. Sometimes I even see you have a recent bronze world medalist among others that joined you.
Yes, we had Nick Wisdowski just on the job the other day helping us out. He's big help.
Did he earn a paycheck, or was he showing some walking papers?
He did. He offered to volunteer, and if he offers to volunteer, I'll take him up on that. But we did actually get a tip that job, so he got a little bit.
So just like I'd love to get our fans to leave reviews and ratings on iTunes for the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. And if you haven't done so, please do that. You'll win Wolfpack wrestling gear. You also take a lot of pride in your Yelp reviews, which helps tremendously when people search you on Google.
Yes.
But tell our listeners how they can contact you for a free estimate. Yeah,
so, I mean, we got our regular phone call or text. Either one's fine at 919-273-8577. Email is SpenoLawnCare@gmail.com, and you can check us out on our website, Speno'sLawnCare.com. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can message us through there. It's all at Speno's Lawn Care.
Do you have a social media manager, or who's doing all this behind the scenes?
I'm doing all of it, but if you'll check out Bill Cook's Twitter, in his bio he says he's the Speno Lawn Care consultant, which I'd say he is. He does a great job. He's a great supporter.
Bill Cook seems to have his hand in a lot of stuff still here around it. He's not even in the area, but yet you just see his presence constantly on social media.
Yeah.
One thing I did ask for you to do was to bring some Speno's Lawn Care gear by, because our fans know if they leave a rating and review on iTunes for this podcast, they are entered to win free gear for both NC State Wrestling and our guest. Sam, I'm going to put it in your hands this week. I want you to pick the winner. This person will be receiving some Speno's Lawn Care gear. So tell us who you picked.
All right. I'm going to pick BHNCSU1. Their review was, NC State is putting an exciting style of wrestling out on the mat, and it's good to get some insight as to what's going on behind the scenes. It's great to see the sport growing in the area.
So again, BHNCSU1. Thanks for leaving that review. You're this week's winner. DM us on Twitter at PackWrestle, and I'll coordinate you, and we'll get you some of that Speno Lawn Care gear. Sam, I know you're very busy with Speno's Lawn Care, but you're also one of the few recent alums who has dipped his foot into the coaching ranks. Can you talk about some of that, and where do you see this leading to down the road?
Yeah, so I'm coaching Cary Academy Wrestling Team. I'm assistant coach with Eric Moore, who's a big supporter of NC State Wrestling. He's got a great relationship with them. I know he's in communication with Pat and Melissa all the time. But, yeah, Eric Moore reached out to me one day and asked me if I'd be interested. And I know Eric just through NC State Wrestling. I know he's a great guy. And so, yeah, I took him up on the offer, and now I'm out there. I plan to be with them for a while. I mean, obviously my main job, my main goal is Speno's Lawn Care. But I'll definitely stick around. I do enjoy it. I love helping out. So,
Sam, I want to thank you for stopping by today. Next time I see Pat, I'm going to have to tell him that you stopped by my office to record this. And unlike him, you didn't make me trek across town carrying all this podcast equipment. So I appreciate that. But
of course.
Sam, once again, plug Speno's Lawn Care and how people can contact you.
Yes, that's right. So the number, again, is 919-273-8577. And email SpenoLawnCare@gmail.com. And all of our social medias, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram is at Speno's Lawn Care. So feel free to text, call, message, DM, whatever's easiest. We'll respond no matter what.
And I want to thank everybody for listening today. This is your Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast covering all things NC State Wrestling. Until next time, Wolfpack fans, go Pack.
The Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast is produced by the Matt Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, go to MattTalkOnline.com.